Hello everybody, welcome to LPSA, Living Positive San Antonio. We want to welcome everybody, and we're going to do our quick COVID numbers real quick, and we're going to discuss dating with age gaps, basically, and as well as substance and addiction abuse. And we decided to include addiction because there's other things besides drugs that we do. So, anyway, our new cases, 222. This, by the way, was updated at 7 o'clock. There are 264 deaths under investigation. There are 46,663 total cases. That's here in Bexar County, by the way, these numbers. And so far, there have been 822 deaths confirmed by Metro Health, 366 hospitalized, 157 ICU patients, and 93 patients on ventilators. And overall, in the United States, there have been 189 deaths. So that's it. The first thing we're going to talk about is dating with age differences, basically. When an older man or a woman dates a younger man or a woman, and what do you prefer? We want to know, what do you prefer? So we're going to get Mark, and we're going to get Santiago up here, and hopefully there won't be a fist fight. So,
fix that. We'll fix this thing. 1 second, guys. I'm waiting for Santiago.
it's not showing up right now, so, oh wait, what did you do? Well, let's see if we can fix this. So,
Okay, give us a second.
if y'all want to go ahead and start talking, we'll figure out.
Fred Moore Park? Is it just on him?
It's just on Mark. Mark's the only thug up there.
Okay. So today's question is
Where did we?
dating outside your age group.
Yes.
I guess I'm gonna go with the pros and cons, but do you believe in that? Do you believe in dating somebody 20 years older or 10 years older or 10 years younger?
Or 20 years younger.
Or 20.
20 years. Or in my case, I was married to somebody 28 years younger.
Sorry.
No, I was a liar.
No judgment.
Ah.
What do you say?
Okay, I gotta figure out how to.
I'm actually both, because when I was younger, when I was 21, I actually got married, and she was
Is it not connecting?
17 years older than me. But she didn't look her age, so for me it wasn't such a big deal, because I've always been to older women back then. But now that I'm older, it's the younger ones that hit me up. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with my ex was 28, and I just turned 50. So again, there's a big gap. I'm okay with it. And this is the reason why I don't mind dating younger, is because some of the guys that are my own age don't have it together. I've met kids, and I don't want to say kids because they are pretty established, but I've met younger guys, 25, 23, they already have an apartment, have a job, going to school, have a car, doing all this, that, and I'm finding guys my own age that don't have this shit together, that are living with their mother and father, or living with their grandparents, don't have a job, and then I see this kid that has everything together, like, what's wrong here? What about you, Mark?
I believe in dating younger and older. Well, not older. I always dated younger than me. My ex older than me. It worked out pretty well. But I've always been attractive to younger guys. Always have. I'm not saying 18, 19. I'm saying about 25, 30. Dating someone who's 18, 19, 20. To me, they're still young. They're still finding themselves. They still want to play around. I'm not saying guys at my age or older are settled, because I've met a few of them that, like you said, they're not settled. They're still trying to be a kid in heart.
Do you find that as you get older, the younger person that you're attracted to is actually an older than, for example, like I used to be attracted to 20, 21-year-olds. I find that now that's too young for me. I don't find that attractive anymore. I'm more attracted to 25 to 30-year-olds. Do you find that as you get older, or?
No,
What do you think?
this is, it's hard to say. Again, I've never really had a problem. I've been hit up by both, so I don't discriminate. But I do believe, at your age, to a certain point, there's younger people that have an old soul, so they don't even act like there are 18, 19-year-old kids. They actually act like an adult. Be responsible. Hey, I gotta be up at 7 o'clock to go to work, or I have class at 8 o'clock, so I can't stay out late. Versus some of the older guys going back, it's like, oh, this party, dude. Oh, I don't have to be at work till 9. It's like, it's already 2 o'clock. It's like, you need to go home. You know what I'm saying? So, going back to your question, I mean, it's hard to even answer that. What do I do?
What's the question again?
Well, the reason I asked the question is because I think it does come to maturity. It seems like the more mature I become, the more mature I want the person to be that I'm dating. But at the same time, I want to be dating somebody younger. And I want to be dating somebody younger because it's kind of a self-serving thing for me, because it makes me feel younger. It makes me feel like I can still go out there and climb those mountains or whatever. But again, I also don't want to be dating someone who's 20, 21, because they are starting to seem immature, whereas people who are 25 to 30, they seem to have more maturity. And yet I still get that being able to date somebody young, but somebody who has a mature attitude.
When you're getting young and when you're going below 21, when you're going 20, 18, 19, now you got to worry about, if you want to go drink, can you buy me beer? Like, look, are you getting me just because you want me to buy you beer, or are you getting me because you want somebody to hang out with and go from there? So you gotta figure out, what do they want? What do they actually want a relationship, or do they want somebody just so you can do things for them? Or do they have daddy issues? I mean, sometimes you gotta wonder about that, of how they're acting towards you. Again, going back, when you're dating someone that's 19 or 20, and you're, your mid-40s, or again, 50 like I am, you can't say, hey, babe, let's go to the bar, let's go grab a drink real quick, because, hell, you can't even get in. So, I mean, unless you know somebody, but do you really want to be that guy, like, yo, can you see my 17-year-old boyfriend inside? Like, nah, dude, like, because now he's liable, you're liable for it.
Like, with me is...
And I guess we also have to look at, are you taking somebody just out on a date? Or is this somebody that you are in a relationship? I mean, if I'm just going out on a date, I'd take a 20, 21-year-old out. But if I'm going to be in a relationship, I want them to be, for some reason, that 25 seems to be a breaking point for me. They have to be at least 25 or older for me to actually date.
What's the age of the last guy you hit on?
23.
23? I think it was 20. It was this morning. And I talked to him for a few minutes, and I realize that
Did you get the right?
mentally he's not there, meaning that he doesn't have his life settled or anything. He's not looking for a sugar daddy or anything. But to me is someone that I really don't wanna, I'm at that age in my life that I don't wanna be nobody's daddy.
I got you. So Jay Avila put, I don't see the younger generation with older men.
Well, that's not true.
I'm not trying to be smart ass, bro, but I don't know where you're hanging out, dude, because I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Julian Ramirez put, my opinion on that week ago doesn't really count. It is what it is in your heart and in your intentions. Now, if you're not for a relationship and just a one-night stand, but at the same time, people look at you, you're very different in judgment. Again, it just depends on the person that you're trying to date. And I'm gonna use this as an example. So I just moved back from New York. Was it 2011? I forgot. And I just got a little puppy, and I was walking him. And it was actually during Pride. And I went to it where the gazebo was at. And I met this guy, just started talking, rambling on with me. You know, like, okay, so we're talking, went back to my place, chatted, talked, and so on, you use your imagination. After we were done, everything, I go, blah, 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 blah. He said something, and he goes, I don't know where he goes, I just turned 17. I was like, and I think at that time I was like 46. So, even though it was hot that, you know, when you're 46, you can pick up a 17-year-old kid, but sometimes some of these 17-year-old kids don't look 17. They look 22, 23, 24. I mean,
They got full facial hair like you.
yeah, I just met this kid this weekend that was 20, didn't look it, masculine, had body hair everywhere, like, he had more hair than anything, like, I mean, I didn't sleep with him, but I just met him. But what I'm saying is, he did not look his age. And that's the thing with a lot of kids nowadays, they don't look their age. But also, sometimes they don't even act their age too. They actually do act more mature than, again, some of the guys that are my own age.
Oh, they do. Damn it. I don't know how to get rid of that without stopping it.
A lot of these kids nowadays do have it together. But do you want to take that time to mold, not to mold them?
No, basically
their
that's
way.
right.
Because no matter if they have it together, they're still a kid. They still have a lot of parties to go through. They still want to stick around. And it's hard because they're still kids.
Yeah.
And when you date someone closer to your age,
What do you do? Talk about retirement? Geritol? And all that?
No,
I'm your age, bitch. And so,
This is no cussing zone.
oh, you cussed so many times already.
But not on camera.
Yes, you have.
all right, fight. No, I think, in a way, I kind of see what Mark is saying. For me, there's kind of a guilt thing when I'm dating somebody younger too. I mean, it's a guilt thing in that I know that because I am older, we're not going to have a full life together, and they're going to have to go through. If we're together till I die, they're going to have to go through that, and then they have to go out there and start. And they're going to be, let's say I'm alive for another 20 years, where they're going to be in their mid-40s. They have to go out and find somebody else to date.
My thing is dating someone young is you have to keep up.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about sexually, but you got to keep up with your appearance, the way you look. I can't even pronounce the word. The way you look. Because you're the one who's really getting older. And like Jay was saying, there's gonna be a time that you will be 60 and this kid will be 30 or 40. And he's gonna wanna move on.
Maybe, maybe not. Again, and again, because I'm playing both sides, and what I mean by that is my ex-wife was 17 years older than me. She didn't look her age, and I was 21. So, with that said, I never had a problem with her age, and she never had a problem with my age. Everything was great. Everything was good. I went to high school with both of her sons. And then, you know, it's even better. We would go to family functions, and we would
But
get.
how does it look?
But we went to,
How does it look? A 50-year-old guy with an 18-year-old on his hands.
Yeah, and a lot of times that they're going to think that 18-year-old is your son or your grandson if you're old enough.
I've been involved with someone a lot younger than I am, and they thought I was their father all the time.
but not all the time is that gonna happen. I never got that. That question was never asked when me and Darius were dating. When I went to Vegas, and
Derek doesn't look- Derek
nobody
does not look like
ever
a
looked
kid.
at us like we were.
Derek does not look like a kid. You're comparing someone who does not look like a kid to Derek. Derek does not look like a kid.
Darius. But
Whatever his thing is, he does not look like a kid. That's totally different. You put yourself with an 18-year-old, walk down the street.
that's
and
if I choose to date an 18-year-old. I'm not saying I'm dating an 18-year-old right now, or even thinking about it. But if I choose to, which I don't think is gonna happen, I have to see and go from there. How it's gonna go. But I can't just burn bridges so quick. Can't burn bridges so quick. Thank you, sir. You have a good day. Thank you for coming in. Thank you.
You do not want me to go there. You told me you should be talking about that topic.
Sir, if you would like to join our conversation,
You don't want me to go there.
Oh, come on.
yes. Thank you.
You just want me to go there.
Sorry, we almost had a special guest. From a
You do not want that gift.
totally different age bracket.
Oh!
Oh, those are fighting words. Those are fighting words.
Princess, I have more energy than you do. What are you talking about? I can't get my shit from the bracket. What are you talking about?
You was.
Oh no!
Okay, we have a special guest today.
No, come back, sit down here. You sit down here. You're not getting off this hot seat.
So again, I am proud to say I'm 50 years old. Sir?
Yes.
Can you tell me your age?
64.
Okay. And sir, at the end?
I'm
50?
50.
You're 50? Yeah, I think you were 52.
No.
Oh my God!
How are you sitting there talking
You.
How are you sitting there talking about this topic? Oh my God, I want to date anyone. You have no concept. You get up in the morning and you go, oh. You can't do that. There is a reason you should not do that.
Okay, so you're against dating younger. Is that
Oh,
what
I
you're
think
telling me?
that you need to.
What's the youngest you ever dated, sir?
Sir.
I know, you're doing it on this stuff.
He's the youngest.
Yes.
That's it?
Always, yeah.
What's-
But there's still a 14-year age
You
gap.
know what? Let me change that question. What's the youngest you
What's
stuck
that
with?
question?
That
I'm not
you
going to
stuck
go
with?
there. No, I'm not going to go there. Why? I am not going to talk about that. We're talking about dating.
No,
We're
but
talking about
we're
dating.
also we're not just talking about dating.
Yes, we're
Because he also did bring up, even if it's just a one night stand, if you just decide to pick somebody up at a bar one night, and there's gonna be some age difference.
There was
Well, okay, let's put it this way, Gilbert.
There was a difference.
Okay, well, let's put it this way. Let's say you are at a bar, and you're picking somebody, and you're picking somebody up for a one-night stand. What is the youngest you think you would choose?
Well, first of all, I would not get on somebody that looks like they just got out of, elementary. I
What
wouldn't
if
do
he
that.
hits you up?
That's not going to happen.
How do you know?
Because I'm realistic about things. You're not.
I am even.
No, you're not.
So you're saying
Because, okay, let me...
no. You're saying because you've never been hit up by a young guy. Mark has been hit up by a younger guy. I've been hit up by a guy. So
There's no kind
I'm
of
sure-
damage
I'm
generation.
sure
It's not
that-
my fault.
I'm sure there's been young guys attracted to you, but you were not attracted to them.
Okay, well, all right.
So that's what
I'm a little, okay, people that are my age are a little bit more hesitant when someone that's very young and very pretty comes up to them, because the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, why? And I'm terrible to say that, but it's true. Why? Are you looking for a sugar daddy? A number one. Are you going to be for my drinks? Are you going to be for me to go to the dinner? They want all that, but they may want all that. So the first thing I do is I back off.
So you had that mental thought already. So
Yes.
you're already judging them because they're young.
No,
So yeah, the way it was like,
Well, now, he may have a good reason to judge them, because you'll find that probably, I'm gonna say 75% or more of a younger person who's attracted to, quote, attracted to an older guy, they are looking for that sugar daddy.
Or they're looking for that daddy.
again,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Mark. And so have you had that experience where guys hit you up because they're looking for you as a sugar daddy, or they're looking at you because they just want to be with you?
I've never had a guy who's asked for money. Okay, never had. Even when I was on Grindr or what have you, I never had. They want more. With me, it's more of a daddy issue.
Okay.
They like the way I look. They like how I present myself on Facebook or what have you. They like daddy issue. They want to be with someone.
They like the thug look. I'm sorry.
They want someone who's going to be there for them, not take care of them, but mentally.
Okay.
What they didn't get from their father.
Okay, wait a minute. How can you do that? How can you possibly open yourself up to that? That is not a good way to start a relationship with
Well,
someone.
first thing, I never said that I date these people.
Right.
I
You
never
just
said that.
That's right.
They approached me,
That's okay.
and that's a whole different ballgame.
Okay.
I will not sleep. Why are you moving
You're not
away?
here.
No, sir.
You're not
I've
here.
never said that I've slept with these guys before.
Okay. I never said that you were, that you did. I said, but younger men have approached.
So yeah, like I said
Okay.
this morning, 20-year-old.
Okay. Again, and I've said this before. I've been approached, and I have approached as well until I find another age. But I also see where it goes. Again, I've also talked to people my own age that it goes nowhere. It goes nowhere. I probably have more in common with somebody that's younger. And I don't even play video games. I don't even do a lot of young stuff for me to say, hey, I have everything in common with them. I don't. But their mentality is a little more grown up than some of the men that are our age, are 50.
Yeah, and
Because
I'll also say that
What do you?
well, you'll find out if somebody wants a sugar daddy right off, or because they're going to want to ask you for something. But if they are somebody who's more mature, they may start off a conversation about something. Let's say history. I'm just going to use that as an example.
history or
Politics or something like that.
anybody go from there.
Yeah, to me, that's how I weed out the sugar daddy wanters versus somebody who might be interested in me more seriously.
In the long run, though, in the actual long run, can you actually say you have something in common with someone that is 20 years younger?
Yes.
Yeah, I can say that because my husband was.
Yes.
Really?
What is it?
Well, yeah.
Okay, other than me, Darius did believe in our goals. He was also military, so I was military, so we had that in common. Though he was 28, he never asked me to buy me anything. It was always either we went Dutch or he paid one day and I paid one day or whatever. And that's the way a relationship should work, you know. But also he never expected anything from me. So everything worked out with that. And we were together for off and on, maybe 3 years, off and on. We were together.
And the reason.
And actually, matter of fact, with that said, would I thanked him more because he would at least come down to see me at least once a month. He would fly me from Vegas, bought his own tickets, come stay with me, and he wanted to chill with me. He didn't want us to go out and go chill. I mean, unless we went to go, let's say, the Japanese bar, because he was into stuff like that, into history, like you were talking about earlier. He's history buff, you know. So he wants to see stuff. Though he lived here before because he was stationed here, he'd always want to see little things like that. Some stuff that didn't really even cost a lot of money, but he wanted to spend time with me. It was nothing about me taking him out here, taking him out there, whatever. So again, he was 28, and at that time I was 40. Right now, it did not work because at the end of the day, I want kids. He did not want kids. He felt that he didn't want little kids running around, bothering him while he wanted to do stuff. I want more kids. I want a white picket fence. I want to live in a bigger city. He would rather live in a small city outside a metro area. So he would rather live, let's say, like in Bernie, while I would rather be a city boy and live in the city. So that's why our shit didn't work out. But other than that, he loves me today. I mean, you saw last weekend while we're in the meeting, he called me. I chose not to answer. And it's not the first time because he's called me before and texted me. But I choose not to, because and I've said this before, once I break up with somebody, I cut them off. That's it. There's no reason for to go back with somebody in the past. But that's a different discussion or conversation. Our conversation right now is dating somebody younger or older. I've dated younger. Some of the older guys that have hit me up, maybe 2 or 3, okay, everything's cool, but the spark wasn't there. Now I had, a couple of days ago, last week, I did talk to somebody that is 58, and he chose to lie to me and said he was 52 until a conversation later on said, oh, I'm 58. There's no reason to lie. Be proud of your age. Since I turned 21, I've always been proud. Hey, I'm 21, I'm 47, I'm 49, I'm 50. I'm a proud 50-year-old guy. You know, I might be overweight, but I'm still proud of who I am. I'm still a 50-year-old guy. There's no reason for me to dye my hair and claim I'm in my mid-30s or whatnot. Bro, I'm 50. You want it? Oh, I don't believe you. Here's my license. And they're like, wow, you really are, you look great. Oh, thank you very much. I try to. But I'm not doing it for you to be in the competition to try to get 20-year-olds. I do it for myself, so I can feel better about myself and go forward from there. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do one.
No, I just have a question. Going back to your relationship, I know that he didn't live here, right?
Right.
Do you think it would have been different if he lived here? I mean, you know, because you when you saw each other, and it was a brand new relationship all over again. You hadn't seen each other, you had experiences you talked about. You were, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Let me tell you what happened to this and this and this. But if you see each other on a day-to-day basis, I'm talking about get up in the morning and rehearsals in the kitchen. Would that make a difference?
It didn't bother us because we did do that. We FaceTime every day, or even on Messenger. As soon as he got off of work, because he worked third shift, he got off of work at 6 something, he would call me, we'd be on the phone, and I've told you this, we'd be on the phone for like an hour, or FaceTiming each other before he went to work at 9, and he had to be at work 9:30. He'd wake up, start getting ready, at 9 we were FaceTiming each other. By the time he went to work, boom. So even though he wasn't here physically, I still saw him, and we were still in contact every day. Hey babe, what's going on? Yo, hit me up. So it was not like when you're in long distance relationship, this isn't like 10 years ago when all you have to do is worry about a phone call, and if you didn't get that phone call, you're wondering like, what the fuck is he doing? Blah blah blah. Now it's like you want to know what he's doing. Hey, call him up. Hey baby, yeah, I'm right here. Oh really? Look, send me your location. I already know where he's at. So I never had to worry about stuff. I knew he was at work. I knew he was at home. That's the kind of relationship we had. Again, it had nothing to do with him being younger or me being older. He didn't even like going to bars. For him, he'd rather go to a little lounge, go smoke hookah, and go back home. He wasn't even a drinker. He only drank with me. And even then, he might drink like 1 or 2 drinks. But again, he was more just chilling, relaxing, stuff like that, which I'm okay with that. I was more the one, I want to go out. I want to go to Luther's, go get something to drink. It's happy hour somewhere, And it's not that I was going happy hour all the time, but what I'm saying is, if I could do that. I'm serious. He had an old soul. So again, it matters who you attract. There's been a lot of people that just don't find that right person. Sometimes, I'm not saying Darius was not the right person. He was the right person. It was just not our time. So, again, with dating younger and older, because this is where the conversation is about Santiago and Darius, it's about dating and going. But you have to go from there and see, is this the right person? Talk with him for a while, and then if it's the right person, then you date. But don't just, he's 20 years old, he's 30 years younger, he's 40 years younger, I can't because he's going to use me for my money. Not everybody's after your money.
That's true, you're right. But also, think about this way, okay, as you get older, okay, there are gonna be differences between you and them. There's gonna be this big age gap.
You're right.
You're at a place, I'm sorry, we wrap it up, gotta wrap it up.
2 minutes.
Oh,
2 minutes.
you're at two different places. You date, say, a 22-year-old, and you're in your 40s, okay? Think about it, when they get to be 40, you're gonna be much older. You're gonna be at two different places.
Okay, and you're right. And I used to make a joke about this, that he would have to change the pants.
Right,
And I
exactly.
got
You know,
over
and
it.
that-
He goes, babe, if I love you, what does that matter to me? If y'all, okay, let's say two people that are in their same age, let's say both 30s. Now, I'm just making sure. And one of them gets an accident, now he's quadriplegic, and he can't move anything, he has to wear diapers. The other guy's gonna change him. He's not worried about anything else. And what if it was a younger guy? The guy that accident, the older guy's gonna have to change his diapers or help him out with everything. So we can't put boundaries on an age.
So I want to jump in real quick, guys. We've had a couple of questions, and we need to wrap it up in a second. But I want to see what you think about this question. So this person is asking, does family have any impact on who you date or who you choose to date?
I don't think so, not with my family.
Oh,
That's all, I'm happy, that's all that matters.
yeah. Matter of fact, yeah, when again Darius came over, my family met him. They were okay with him. They liked him. They knew he was tired. He just got off work, so they let him go upstairs and go play during Christmas. Let him go take a nap. Sorry, not play, but let him take a nap. I'm never. We can continue this discussion later on outside of live and do it one-on-one. Or bring this up again in another month and see what we think.
Is there another question?
Was there any other questions? No?
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. It was a pretty good conversation. I want to thank Gilbert for showing up unannounced.
Thank you.
He was out the door and did a turnaround.
Boy, I tell you.
180.
You made it a little more lively. I like that.
So we're gonna have Wayne coming up next. You want somebody with you, Wayne?
What's that?
You want somebody with you?
He's going to start.
Okay, good. It'll be Wayne.
Again, thank you, Gilbert. Our second subject is going to be substance abuse and addictions. And we chose the title of that because there are people that have problems with substance abuse, but there are other addictions besides drugs and alcohol. I'm going to admit that my addiction actually is food. It's what comforts me. It's what gets me through life sometimes. So
I deal with both. I deal with the demon of mental health and substance abuse. And I want to read something real quick. And I was interested online that every once in a while I read this. It's long to go is the thing that a doctor does. The doctor says, at this time during COVID, feeling stressed, isolated, scared, many times drives people back to substance abuse. This is from START, which is out of New York City. It's a really well-known treatment and recovery place. And it says, whatever structure used to maintain sobriety by people with substance use issues tend to fall apart away in a pandemic. And basically what he's saying is, at this time people are stressed, they're isolated, they might be dealing with, what's called core. Go ahead.
we can't figure out how to get rid of that.
Oh, that thing is still there?
It's still there.
But it says, going back, it says people right now are dealing with, people that have mental health issues and addiction issues like myself, we're dealing with stress, isolation, comorbidities, including, HIV, Hep C, hypertension, blood pressure, diabetes. So luckily with the care that I'm in and the care that you're in, because we have the same doctor, the same clinic that we see, they planned ahead for this. So we were given 90 days out medication and things like that. Some of the other places aren't. People are still having to try to go in and do telemedicine, get a 3-day supply, getting lost in the mail. all types of issues, dealing with payment, issues with Ryan Wider running late, and things like that. And I wanted to stress, we've talked about this before, the buddy system, that again, you guys can reach out to us. We post our phone number, and you have to, I don't mind anyone calling me. You guys do have to reach out to us though, because there's a large amount of you that are in the group, and we don't know who might be having an issue and who might not be having an issue. Like a lot of times I'll see something posted on Facebook and I'll read it, and it's, you know, a couple of sentences, but I don't know where you're really coming from, because texting and messaging like that for me lose the connection. I don't understand. Maybe sometimes you are in a crisis, maybe sometimes you're not. What do you think, Jace?
I agree. It's weird because when you're texting and this drives me nuts. I always want to put a voice, and it drives me nuts because it's my problem. I always want to put somebody's voice inflection inside their text. It's like they may be being friendly and nice, and yet in my head I'm thinking, God, that sounds angry to me. And I think that's
because you hear that person's voice.
Yeah, and I hear it, and it's like, and that's not necessarily true. That's why I prefer to talk to somebody one-on-one, either face-to-face or on the phone. I want to hear what their voice is actually saying. That way I know, are you angry, are you sad, are you what?
Yeah, the tone of voice, how it goes.
Yeah, the flexion.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're right, because I mean, if somebody, and then, like sometimes some people when they text, it may automatically go to caps.
Yeah.
So it's like, yo, why is this dude yelling at me? Like,
So I
yo,
had
chill.
known that for years.
Yeah.
You know, and I was dating someone, I was like, you're so angry all the time. I'm like, I'm not angry, I'm always happy. And then one day he goes, no, everything's capped, you're hollering at me. I'm like, what? Caps? I said, oh dear God, seriously? And I just find it ridiculous. I don't know emojis that well, especially when you used to have to create them out of letters and symbols and all that.
Well, I always use capital letters to emphasize things. And somebody said, you're yelling at me. I said, I'm not yelling, I'm trying to emphasize what I'm saying. They said, no, you're yelling, you're using all capital letters. Like, oh crap.
That's why I say, you know, we've got all this technology where we can be on any part of the world away from each other 3,000 miles, and we still will not pick up a call. We'll still use WhatsApps or something and text
You know,
message.
and I love that there's voice text, but also, and I'm gonna follow that, check your messages before you send it out, because sometimes it sounds like gibberish. But what I'm also going is, if you have enough time to write 12 paragraphs, just call me.
Yep.
Don't write 12 paragraphs.
I hate texting. I do. I'd rather somebody call me.
I kind of want to go back onto the issue of addiction also. I'm just curious if anyone that's watching, do you have addiction issues? What are you doing at this time to deal with them? I know, for instance, now I've been very fortunate. I do telemedicine for that. But I also know, and what I'm going to do is Jason and I will post a lot of these little notes here that I have. I'm not going to run off a bunch of phone numbers to you. We'll post them though. You can always reach out to the San Antonio Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse. They can point you in directions of virtual meetings that you could do for AA. You can also call the AA hotline, which I'll put that number. Unwired CMA, which is Crystal Meth Anonymous, which happens to be my drug of choice that I've used. They have a meeting here in San Antonio called Unwired that I've attended that is really, really good. They do not have a number posted for them. I'll put the address and the time. It's once a week. But I'll give you the national number, because you can call the national Crystal Meth Anonymous also and find virtual meetings and things like that. On the counseling side, and again, I'll post names and numbers. Beat Coalition has a counselor that's very good that I have gone to. The Facts Immunosuppression Clinic at University Health System has a really good counseling also, and I will leave that number as well. You can also call ARC for counseling.
But even the VA hospital, because we do live in a military city, that there are a lot of vets, just like.
Yeah, like me in Santiago, yeah.
Yeah.
And I will get, I did not think of that, sorry, I will get the VA information and post it as well. And I strongly suggest reaching out. You know, you guys can reach out to us. I do a lot of peer work, but there's a lot of things I'm not qualified to do. So
Yeah.
This is another way of reaching out to these
You know,
people
if you reach
also.
out to us for, because like I said, there are other addictions besides drugs and alcohol.
Sex.
There's sex, well, we mentioned that so on, there's sex addiction.
No. Yes, there
There's,
is.
I mentioned
Sex
I was
addiction.
addicted to food. Matter of fact, if you have an addiction that's not dealing with drugs or alcohol, let us know what that is, because a lot of times it's just talking with a counselor can help you at least alleviate some of the addiction.
True.
You talk about your medications, does that ever make you crave your addiction choice? No?
I'm actually on a medication that actually helps, what do you call it? To not have the cravings.
Okay. The reason I ask that is because actually I do take a medication that actually makes me crave food even more. And I eat.
Some depression medication will do that, but
So-
I take it.
Yeah, but right now with the whole COVID thing, a lot of people are going through depression right now. You know, call it COVID depression,
that
and
is a-
are gaining crazy weight.
Oh,
that
yeah.
is a trigger. Depression is a trigger for, in my case, wanting to eat food. It could also be a trigger for someone who's a sex addict. And again, it could be a trigger for someone who does drugs.
Well, Julian just said his addiction, I guess, is porn.
Yes,
And there is addiction to porn
yeah.
also.
And there is. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
there were times
Like I said,
that
I guess I'm kind of addicted to it too. Yeah,
7 times a day
yeah.
where there was dry as fuck.
Good for you.
Matter of fact, a lot of people, I was worried because I do think I have an addiction to porn somewhat. And a lot of people say, well, that's bad. It's like, no, not really. I don't think it is.
Addiction is addiction, so
So,
the
I think a lot of the people, how we look at addiction is, does that addiction hurt you and somebody else?
so to me, addiction, people tend to classify addictions the way that zealous Christians classify sin. This sin is not as bad as this sin, but the counsel that I work with, you see, addiction is addiction, and there's a study that's been done for years that shows addiction issues and what it does to the back of the brain. There was substance abuse, gambling, sex, believe it or not, pedophilia, and things like that. And when these people were stimulated with that situation, the brain all reacted in the exact same way. So addiction, you can't really, this is worse than this because it does the same thing to the brain. Now, it may affect society different,
Yeah.
and it may affect your personal life different,
Society
but
looks at it
it's still,
differently,
yeah, it's still the same when it's being treated.
And society likes to do that. They like to put things in cubby holes. It's like, oh, you're addicted to this drug, we'll put you here. You're addicted to Xanax, we'll put you here. You're addicted to alcohol, we'll put you here. They also look at it is it like, well, is it an addiction that's socially acceptable? Well, you know, drinking, I'm going to go back to drinking because I have a lot of alcoholics in my family. That is considered a very socially acceptable addiction to have. And a lot of people will be social alcoholics.
And what most people don't realize is alcohol addiction is actually worse than any other drug
Yeah.
there is, because yes, you can be coming off of heroin, you get the body aches and all that stuff and things like that. You can be coming off methamphetamine, which may you go into hysterical depression. But alcohol, coming off of alcohol physically harms you. It makes the liver quit functioning, it does stuff in the kidneys. There's a lot of side effects.
Yeah, you're right. Matter of fact, I have a brother who had cirrhosis of the liver simply because he was drinking, no joke. When I say he was drinking a 12-pack a day, he was drinking a 12-pack of beer a day, and then he might be having, you know, his vodka over here and his gin over here. So,
I always laugh because they talked about during the filming of Dallas, what's the actor's name that did I Dream of Jeannie? I couldn't think of it.
oh crap, I don't know his name either.
He played the one that got shot on
Yeah,
Dallas.
J.R.
J.R. Ewing.
I played Jared Walker.
So that particular actor, when I was reading about him the other day on Sunday, I actually had something about him on one of the addiction pages that I read. He was drinking a case of champagne a day while filming Dallas.
Wow.
My
And,
God.
see, and because it's champagne,
Something
people
Hagman
are,
is his name.
yeah, Larry Hagman.
Larry Hagman.
Okay, is alcohol a drug, considered to be a drug?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just a drug that the FDA regulates.
Okay. Process.
Oh, speaking of drugs that are being regulated, I don't know if y'all heard, but the House of Representatives, is getting ready to vote and probably will approve a bill that will legalize marijuana throughout the entire country. So, and again, that's probably gonna be another, drug that's gonna be regulated by the FDA, just like alcohol.
Lots of tax money.
A lot, and you know it comes down to that, it comes down to taxing. And again, that's gonna be one of those acceptable addictions that, society's gonna accept.
And I was just, how funny you say that, I was just, let me go, I just was reading it a second ago, it was showing that they have had 5 times, so this was, this study was based on Denver. Denver has had 5 times the amount of ER and ODs from marijuana since they legalized it.
Can you say what's ER?
5. The emergency room. Emergency room visits and OD, because what they do is that thing called dabbing, where it's the purest form of the THC, and it's gummy, and they, I don't know how they do it it on pipe, and you go crazy, you know, it's just, so think of THC times 10 in your bloodstream, what it does to you, and it's insane that,
Well, I mean, I don't lie, I've had my shot of pot here and there, and I've always used it, because when I first started taking my HIV medications, I wouldn't eat. And it's not, I know that, it gives you the munchies. So I would,
I know.
I would smoke so that I would eat.
Two
And,
people that are
and
still.
there are actual health benefits
Yeah.
for some of the tea, but again, it has to be done in a.
It's just like anything else. There's the prescribed amount, and then there's like, okay, I'm smoking $100 worth of weed in 3 days, and you know, wondering why.
And the
I'm
same,
not gonna go there. That person might be watching. That person will know who it is. Too. That just threw a jab out with it. Oh gosh.
yes.
But most doctors will tell you so. This particular person I'm very close to, I've been to many doctor's visits with this person, and the doctor says, I'm not saying weed is bad, there's benefits to marijuana, but in a situation of HIV, it's not the number one thing they're looking for. It's like 10 or 11 on the list. There's a whole
Talking
lot.
about HIV, how does addiction affect your HIV?
So, methamphetamine addiction, like myself that I had, the way that it affects HIV is, first of all, the way that it is, the retroviral that interacts with methamphetamine actually gives you a much higher chance of ODing. What it also does is, after extended use, it tears down your CD4. So, after I had been using at a point where it was really, really
When you say
bad.
tear down your C4, what do you mean by that?
So, in other words, it doesn't allow your CD4, it doesn't allow your white blood cells to reproduce. It kind of keeps them, you know. I think when I finally went in to said this is enough, and I put myself in a rehab, my CD4 was at 217 or something like that. So I was basically 17 above, you know, a full AIDS diagnosis. Scary, you know. And the thing is, methamphetamine is ripping through the gay men population right now.
You're talking about meth. What other drugs affect your HIV that you know of? I'm going to assume alcohol affects it to some effect as well.
Alcohol affects it too, again, because alcohol affects the liver. Any drug is going to affect your HIV because it's going to be working against it in the liver. And then you've also got, if you're in addiction, the last thing you're going to be worrying about is, oh, did I take my pill at 8 o'clock this morning, or the cocktail, or whatever, you know, that you take, medication, did I get it this morning? No, more than likely you're going to skip 2-3 days and things like that. I'm not going to say that because then I don't want to give anyone the idea that it's okay to do it that way. So I'll stop at that. I won't sing the praises of it. I won't sing the praises of a new Retroviron that's out there. It is really good, but you know, I don't want people to miss dosages and things like that.
If
We have
anybody
any
has
questions coming this way?
Let's check here.
And
Richards asks if cannabis, did I pronounce that right?
Cannabis.
Yes.
That's
Is it
totally-
safer than alcohol?
Again,
I'm not a
that
doctor,
would
but I would
be-
say probably yes. I mean,
It just depends how you
We're-
use
we're-
it.
I'm gonna, not, this is not a direct quote, but there have been a couple scientific studies that I have read, where it says, provided, again, it's used properly and in proper amounts, cannabis can be safer than alcohol. I mean, you're still gonna have people say, oh, well, it's gonna chew away your brain cells. Well, guess what? Alcohol does the same thing. It chews away your brain cells too, just like any other drug. As long as you use it in proper amounts, there are several scientific studies, and I'll look these up and I'll post them for you, that say, yes, cannabis can be safer, and I'm going to use the word can, be safer than alcohol. It all comes down to, is it being abused or not, as to whether it's safer or not.
so this is, I'm gonna read this real quick. Again, this is from that, where I was reading earlier about the treatment center out of New York City that I like a lot. So this is what they're saying. Marijuana has also proven to have an impact on the developing teen brain. In fact, some studies have argued that marijuana can be worse for the teen brain than alcohol, contributing to a long-term decline in cognitive ability. Effects on other organs, the effects of alcohol on the human body are well documented. As we know now, alcohol tends to basically what they're saying is alcohol tends to be harsher on the body than the marijuana does. And again, that's if you're using the cannabis as prescribed by a doctor for depression or something like that.
And we were talking about, cannabis is used to help you eat. That's another thing that it's used for in terms of a medical use. It is used for depression. It does
They
have
do it
relief.
with cancer patients,
It's-
HIV patients.
Glaucoma, it helps relieve the pressure of the glaucoma and the pain.
Maridol is the prescription.
Yeah.
So don't think that you're going to go to the doctor and say, "Oh, I can't eat," in a pill.
Yeah. So, and again, that comes down to what you said, the oils, I guess, from the plant that are put into the drugs that are.
So, I've had my experience with cannabis oil. I cannot smoke marijuana because it absolutely makes me go crazy. And I thought, well, I'll try some of the oil for me and the dog during the 4th of July last year.
You and the dog?
Well, because because Wiggles has really goes crazy when the fireworks go off.
Okay.
So last year I thought, I'll try a little bit of this cannabis oil. And we were both miserable together. It absolutely makes me feel like I'm jumping. So for most people that smoke marijuana or use cannabis oil or something like that, it's calming. For me, it's the total opposite. It makes me feel like I'm going crazy. I might as well be on that because I'm just climbing the walls. It just it doesn't interact with med. Because I purposely take medications that help you to not to have cravings of methamphetamine and things like that. So it, chemical-wise in the brain, it kind of does the same thing.
Let's wait and see. I thought there was another question here, but
All I know is anyone wants to give me a really nice gift, I will take the fedora and sunglasses that I have on. Because I actually like them.
yeah. I want to apologize. I don't know what we did, but we got that little Floyd thing, and the
My
only
horns are real.
the only
That
thing we did
hat
is
is
to
not.
actually turn it off. So Jay was at, well, maybe that's what we just asked.
I think you went
No, Jay is asking
If you,
which one is harsher, weed or alcohol, but actually I think you just answered that alcohol is definitely harder on your body.
But the more accepted, more legal.
Oh,
It's more legal,
alcohol,
and-
it's legal, yeah.
It is, or like
Yeah.
you said, society accepts alcohol above all else.
Even prescription pill addiction,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, if you look back at the 60s and 70s when mama was popping a pill to keep her calm from killing her kids, it became very, very acceptable to take things like Xanax and tranquilizers and
The
things like that.
Sigmund Freud was the first one that introduced injecting marijuana, injecting cocaine. He shot cocaine up all the time.
Wow, now that's something I didn't know. So,
I'm looking at one other that's talking about alcohol versus marijuana. This one I did not see. This is a new article from today. Let's see.
What would it have to say?
Talking about kids.
Hey, don't be talking about.
And again, basically what they're saying, it's saying that both alcohol consumption and pot smoking can take a toll on the body, showing both short and long-term health effects. Though alcohol has been linked to more deaths, approximately 90,000 a year, according to the CDC, while for a number of reasons associated with marijuana use are harder to come by. And it's basically, they just, I guess, don't have the scientific data to back that up, for the fact that we're just now, like I said, Denver was just now starting to see an uprise in ER visits due to marijuana. And what it does say is there's a difference between the mom and pop marijuana of the 60s and medical grade marijuana of nowadays.
Yeah. And to Jay was asking that would alcohol hurt the liver? And yes, alcohol does hurt the liver. It hurts not just the liver, it's
Pancreas,
pancreas,
kidneys.
yeah. So again, we're willing to accept alcohol even though it destroys our bodies. And really, it has no medical purpose other than pouring it on a wound to kill.
Yeah, to be a disinfectant.
To be a disinfectant. Otherwise, it's not any good. Well, we're going to let Mark come up and tell y'all good night and do a wrap up and everything. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. We look forward to chatting with y'all next week.
Okay, guys, I want to thank everybody who was on live. We will be doing, things are coming up for this positive of San Antonio. We will be doing the raffle here pretty soon, in the next couple of weeks. We're going to give you more information about that. Also,
Yard sale.
we'll be having a yard sale here at Woodlawn Point. Details will also be coming up here pretty soon. If anybody has any kind of items they want to donate to Living Positive San Antonio, because we will have a table or two, will help us out a great deal.
Quilting.
You know what?
The quilting.
Oh, here. We'll bring that up when we get up and straighten out that. Well, let me bring it up now. We will have a quilt made here pretty soon, for next year for World AIDS Day. That information will also be going out here pretty soon in the next couple of weeks. There's a lot of things that we're looking forward to. I just want to thank everybody for their support and love that you guys give us all the time. I want to thank Santiago, Wayne, Jays, and Leo, and of course our special guest Gilbert and Caesar for being here with us tonight. I hate that thing. So that's about it. I want to thank everybody. Thank you guys.
Remember to vote.
Oh, don't forget, you gotta vote.
Go to
Don't forget
vote.org to
vote.
check if you're registered, or Bear County, I can't remember what it's called, election office, just Google it to check to see if you're registered. But if you're not, get registered.
James will put that information out on Living Positive here pretty soon. But remember
Actually, I'll do it
to
when Caesar
vote,
finishes.
guys. It's really important that we vote. And with that note, anything
Tristan.
else?
Say happy birthday, Tristan.
Huh?
Happy birthday to
Oh,
Tristan.
happy birthday to our beautiful boy, Kristen. Tristan, I should say. I don't know why I say Kristen. Happy birthday.
And
So-
happy birthday to everybody that had a birthday in August.
And everybody who has a birthday in August. Anything else?
Yeah, we wanted to make sure we included them.
So, on that note, we're saying goodbye and good night. Thank you guys.
Good night.